All right, so hello there. I am making this video because I want to do another update on my trip in Taiwan, and then talk about when it comes to making a decision of where you want to stay as a digital nomad. Usually you have several choices, including like a hotel, a hostel, Airbnb, and even like local rental places, which I'll talk more about. And when you want to decide on where to stay, there's like definitely different pros and cons about each of these places. So I just want to go into a little bit of details about making that decision. But firstly, just a little update on my trip. So, and for whoever that hasn't watched these videos before, but basically, I'm a digital nomad. I have an advertising business, like an online advertising business based out of Los Angeles. And basically, I've been doing this for about a couple years now, and I am trying to go over the real world view of what it's like to be a digital nomad. So, I'm trying not to just talk about like the good stuff and sit in front of a pool and show off this glamorous life, but really show you guys exactly what it takes. What are the ups and downs? What are the decisions that you have to make? The challenges you have, and maybe some of the highs as well, some of the good stuff as well. So, just a quick update on my trip today. I think is Wednesday. I woke up at 5 in the morning. The usual time. Worked from like 6 to 3 about. So got most of my work done for the day, and then headed out. So again, my work schedule, working in the mornings and exploring in the afternoons, is working out really, really great. I'm really happy for it right now. So went out in the afternoon. I went to this. I rode my scooter to this beach in. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm in the city of Hualien. I think that's how it's pronounced. I forget how to pronounce it in the Chinese. It's like HU alien. And it's located in like the kind of middle east of Taiwan. It's like a resorty kind of more relaxed town. So today I went to this beach called Chisington Beach, something like that. It was a pretty interesting beach right next to the airport here, and basically the beaches here are nothing like the beaches that you would see in like Thailand or even back home in Los Angeles, where we have really nice fine sand. There's definitely a lot of rocks. And generally people just go and like stand in front of the beach. Not too many people go inside and swim, at least not in these areas that I've been to. So that was pretty interesting. Just watched a bunch of people hanging out in front of the beach, and there was some guy playing the drums or something. Like some guy, he was just standing there or sitting there playing the drums kind of close by the beach, where I would imagine you would actually want there to be more quiet and peace, but whatever. Just that's one of the cool things about these trips. You get to see things that you usually don't get to see back at home. So usually at home, if you go to a nice beach, you want it to be nice and quiet and calm and to relax, but over here they had really loud music, which was kind of surprising. Anyways, I then I went to night market, got some dinner. Basically, here in Taiwan, almost all the cities you go to that have night markets. In Taipei, there's a lot of different night markets, and I had a place right next to one. And now that I've been going to these other cities, these smaller cities, I've definitely noticed like each city has at least one nice night market you could go to get food, get drinks and hang out at nighttime. And pretty much all the locals and all the tourists go there. So went there, grabbed some dinner, had some nice boba tea. If you ever come to Taiwan, definitely milk tea with boba. It's the go-to drink. Try that out. I highly recommend it. So I did that, and now back at my place, actually trying to finish up some other work. So figured to make this video and talk a little about making a decision on where to stay. So generally speaking, the four choices that you have, there might be more, but the four choices that I've seen I had is either stay at Airbnb, which I really like, or a hotel, or like you could look up some local rental places, or stay at a hostel, which I don't really like doing that anymore. But basically, the way that you could make this decision, it really depends on what is your priority. So I use several different things to make this decision, and generally speaking, right now I'm at the point where I use Airbnb for places I stay, but it all depends on what's your priority. But so the first thing that I think about is my budget. So obviously, budget is going to be one of the most important parts of your decision making. On the scale of cheap to expensive, I would definitely say hostel is going to be the cheapest out of all, and I would say that a hotel, if you get like a business hotel, is going to be probably the most expensive, or like a really nice Airbnb is going to be the most expensive if you get like a private room. But I would say that with Airbnb, you could get something like mid-budget if you get like a just a private room instead of getting an entire house for yourself. If you just get a private room, you could get somewhere around like more expensive than a hostel, but definitely cheaper than a hotel. So at this point right now, I like Airbnb. I usually get the entire place to myself just because I need the nice, quiet, calm place to sleep at nighttime, so I could wake up early the next day and go to work. But if you're just starting out, or you're having a rough patch with your business or whatever, then you might have to bite the bullet and stay at a hostel. But if you're doing pretty good, then I would say Airbnb or like a business hotel is the way to go. As far as local rentals goes, that all again depends. But usually, generally speaking, local rentals, they require 1 month contract, or 6 month contract, or even more. I found that you could go to certain Facebook pages for local rental places. So, for example, in Taipei, there was a couple different local rental Facebook pages that all the locals were posting their rental places on, and most of the places required at least like a 1 month, 2 month contract, but they were a lot better priced than Airbnb. So that's a really good option to take a look into. That if you're planning to stay somewhere at least a month, then maybe a local rental place would be the best. So I'll post the links for the Facebook page for the Taipei apartment rental place in the description. But it just depends on which city you go to. Maybe you could do a search on Facebook and find the local rental Facebook page. The next thing. So we talked about budget. The next thing that you should consider is definitely contract. So obviously with hotel, hostel, and Airbnb, it's all short-term contract. It's day to day, or Airbnb you could do like a week and get a discount usually, or if you do a month you get a discount. But most of those you could just go day by day. The local rentals, definitely you have to have some sort of contract. Most of those places don't want you to come in just for like a day or two. They usually require at least 1 month or so. Depends on how long you're planning to stay in the city. So you have to consider the contract. If you're gonna stay for a while, then you could just get the local rental, do a contract. If you want to move every day or every week, then then you have to get a place that doesn't have a contract, obviously. The other thing that you have to consider is where you're gonna work from. So for me, I generally don't like to work from my apartment or the place I'm staying, because I usually need energy from like a coffee shop or like a place where everybody else is working or doing something in order to work. I find it that when I'm at a place that's like really, really quiet, whether it's this like my apartment or in a library, I don't really have the same kind of energy to get work done. So it just depends on your preference. Some people really, really like the quiet places. So if you're planning to work from your apartment, then I would say that a business hotel is going to be great. Airbnb, I would definitely check if you're getting a room, make sure it has like a nice desk to work from. So for example, this place that I got, it actually doesn't have the best desk. It has like a little wooden thing right next to the wall, but that's like probably, oh, I would say maybe 10 inches wide. I'm not sure what that is in meters, but it's just barely enough to fit a laptop on. And then it has this couch that I'm sitting on, which is not bad actually to work from. But in general, I would say if you're gonna do Airbnb, look for a place that has like a desk, a nice desk in the room, and a chair to work from. If you don't see any pictures, you could ask the host. You could always message the host on Airbnb and ask them any question you have. So, make sure you have a desk or something to work from, because it's not really fun to sit on a couch or on your bed to work. So for me, what I do, generally speaking, is if I have any client calls where I want it to be nice and quiet, I'll stay at my apartment and I'll do my client calls. But during the day when I'm working and I don't have too many calls, I'll just go to like Starbucks or a coffee shop or something and work from there, or go to a co-working place and work from there. So yeah, where you're working from it. So again, Airbnb is good if they have a desk. Business hotel is good. Regular hotel probably not. And then obviously local rental. If it has a nice room with a desk, it's good. Hostel, definitely terrible place to work from. You're probably getting nothing done. Most hostels have a lot of socialization going on, which I'll talk about more, but it's gonna just ruin your work schedule. I definitely don't recommend hostel for getting work done from. The next thing is, I guess this one really depends, but what I do always consider when getting a place, and this is for all of the different types of places, it's basically closeness to the city. How central is the place to the city, to like the center of the city or where you want to be? Obviously, hotel, hostel, Airbnb, all of those could be close to the center of the city, but this is just something you should consider. Generally speaking, I would say that hotels and hostels could be pretty close to where you need to be. Airbnb, sometimes they're a little bit off, kind of like further away back from the city center. Hostels usually are, in very central locations. So that's one thing to consider. But that one, it just depends on what place you get. You could get an Airbnb that's super close to the center of the city, or you could get like a hostel that's close to the center of the city. Generally speaking, the price goes up the closer you are to the center. Socializing. So, I think that's the only thing I see positive about staying at a hostel, besides obviously the lower cost. Is it's really easy to socialize at a hostel, just because there's so many travelers or like backpackers or whatever going through. So there's easy ways to make friends. Also, they usually have some sort of like tour you could go on with like people that are staying at the hostel. But as far as like hotels go, local rental, Airbnb, not the best places to socialize if you're looking to do that. So I would say if you really want to socialize, hostel is the way to go. But there's so many negatives about the hostel that I just don't recommend it. How long you're planning to stay? I guess this kind of goes back to the contract thing. So if you're planning to stay a while, I would say finding a local rental place. You could just rent from a local, so you don't have to pay the Airbnb fees, and usually you get like a nice discount when the place is not on Airbnb or something, and you're just dealing directly with the local with no middleman. So if you're staying a while, I would say Airbnb, or I'm saying if you're staying a while, I would stay at with a local rental place. And if you're going, to leave in a week, then Airbnb, hotel, hostel is the way to go. The next thing is, this is actually kind of big for me. I was surprised on how nice this is to have. But basically, if you're, touring around the city in the afternoon or whatever, or you need some sort of help from a local, then Airbnb is pretty nice for that. Same thing with obviously like a guest house, or if you could find a guest house. A lot of times in Thailand they have guest houses, which is kind of similar to a hotel, but it's a little bit more casual than that. But one thing that I found is like if I come into a new city. So I was in Mexico a couple months ago, and I needed to figure out like how to do my laundry, like if they had like a laundry pickup service, where to go to get groceries and all these things. I When I looked on Google Map, I had a hard time finding the right places. So I ended up asking my host where these things are located, or if she knew any of the services around town. And so she gave me all sorts of help. Usually, most Airbnb hosts do provide help like that. So she was able to tell me like where to get my laundry done. I got that, and then where the best grocery store was in the neighborhood. So pretty much all the different questions you have, your host could answer for you. Obviously, if there's a big language barrier like there is here in Taiwan, sometimes your host won't speak, English or whatever language you speak, and that makes it kind of tough. But otherwise, the hosts on Airbnb, generally speaking, do help out pretty well. If you're staying at a hotel, I guess you could ask the front desk for help. So that's good too. Local rental places, I'm not really sure how much, like if you rent from a local, how much help they're gonna provide you. It's not like Airbnb where they know they're gonna get a review at the end of the day. So I haven't personally rented a place from a local person yet, so I'm not really sure. But definitely do consider like if you need some sort of help around town to figure out things. And also, if you need some sort of like help as a tourist to figure out where are the cool places to go and see, generally speaking, like a guest house would be really good for that, or a hotel would be really good for that. Airbnb, it's okay for getting advice on where to see. I wouldn't say it's the best. The next thing is getting good rest. So, obviously this is super important. You want to make sure that you sleep well, you get a full night's rest, so that way the next day you wake up and you're able to do your work. So I would say that Airbnb, if you're getting a private room, it could be good or bad. It depends on who your host is. So if you are getting a private room and you have a super noisy host that stays up till like 3 in the morning and watches football games, then I would say that you're not going to get good rest. But if you get Airbnb and you have a good host, then you're lucky. But that's something that it's a little bit risky. If you get a private room, you just get a room inside someone's house, I would say you're running the risk of not sleeping well because you could have a noisy host. On the other hand, if you get Airbnb and you rent out the entire apartment, obviously most of the time if you get like a apartment in a decent location, you're going to be able to get good rest. Hotel, obviously hotel you'll get pretty good rest, because it's private. Local rental, same thing. Hostel, definitely, again, negative on that one. I keep on bidding on hostel. I'm not even sure why I included it in this list, but I guess for those of you out there who are just making it by and you're considering traveling and staying in hostels and working, I think that you're gonna have a tough time sleeping. There's always those people that snooze a lot and just come in like 2 in the morning or whatever. I'm glad I don't stay at hostels anymore because I can't stand that stuff anymore. Anyways, so the last thing is, I guess, I would say the vibe. This is kind of hard to describe. It's not a specific thing. It's just a feeling you get from the place that you're staying. I think for me personally, I don't like staying at a hotel, even if the price is like the same as Airbnb, just because it doesn't make me feel like a local at all. I always feel like a tourist or something. I'm just really, really temporary there when I'm staying at a hotel. Compared with Airbnb, where I'm staying at like someone's place, I could pretend like this is my place and pretend like I'm a local in my own head, which is something I love to do. Is to kind of like, have that feeling of a local. And so for me, a hotel, this doesn't give me the right vibe. So it just depends for you. If you really like to feel like a businessman staying at a hotel, or a businesswoman staying at a hotel, then great, go for it. Stay at a hotel the whole time if the price is right. But if you want to feel like a total local and just feel really casual, like walk out of your apartment into the city and feel like you just really live there, then I would say definitely Airbnb is a great choice, and local rentals are a great choice. If you want to feel like a tourist, obviously hotel or hostel is the way to go. So Those are some of the things to consider. I would say choosing between a hostel, hotel, local rental, or Airbnb. I'm sure there's more things than that that I'm missing out on here, but those are the main things that I consider. I say for me, I stayed at a guest house when I was in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and that worked out pretty well. But I feel like uh, I didn't get the best deal. I feel like it was a little bit too expensive for what I was getting. And that was because they were providing a lot of like more touristy services that had all these other things that would do for us, that would do for me that I don't get at like an Airbnb. Like they give advice on where to go, and they have like food ready downstairs you could just buy for a really good price, and all these different things that were included that you don't get usually at an Airbnb. Uh, and then when I was in Mexico, I stayed at an Airbnb that worked out really great. And so far in Taiwan, I've been staying in Airbnbs. And I say for me so far, the way that I like to move forward is just Airbnb. But you just have to see what's your budget and all these other things we talked about to make your choice. But hopefully this video kind of helped you think about what are some of the considerations and what are some of the options out there. Yeah, so that's all I had to say about that. I'll catch you guys on the next video.